So I thought I'd do something different for a video this time. It's Christmas Eve, so I'm not really going to get into any projects, we'll say, get working on anything. But I thought I could do a quick video on this. And I'm going to try to do this all in one take too, so if I'm stumbling and mumbling a little bit, bear with me. This is all kind of some research I did when I was first trying to put a standalone on this bike, and I was trying to decide on what one I was going to go with. I'll say straight up front, I've always been kind of a Fueltech fanboy, just because I follow and attend a lot of car races. I don't watch a lot of motorcycle drag racing. I've always been a car person, and I've always liked the Fueltech dash. I'm going to get that out of the way up front, so if it seems like I'm biased, I probably am, but I'm going to try to put this out there and do a little comparison here. And what I'm going to do is I have my notes here from when I did all this. I'm going to basically break down the cost and a little bit of features. Features gets dicey because I believe, even though, like I said, I'm a Fueltech fanboy, I believe all of the big ECUs can do what you want. It's a comfort thing. It's what do you like, and ease of use thing that mostly should probably make your decision for you. Before I had a standalone, I was scared of them. I didn't know what to make of them. I didn't know if I could wire one. I didn't know if I could understand the tuning. Things have evolved quite a bit lately, recent times. Standalones first were a thing. From an outsider looking in, it seemed like it was a lot of being dependent on a tuner. Very few people that had their bike set up with standalones. Well, I shouldn't say that, because the people that did it were pretty smart. But there was a lot of reliance on a tuner to help the stuff work. The systems have gotten so much easier now that you can get pretty self-reliant. And that'll go something I'm going to make a point on a little bit here. But what I decided to do was do an actual cost breakdown on my bike. Not what you might have, not somebody else's bike, my buddy's bike, or this guy's car. My bike, what it would cost to outfit it the way it is right now with the different ECU systems. And what I did to kind of take some of the cost variation out of the equation is up here, I already did a breakdown on my bike, what I run for sensors, so that we can take that cost. I'll add it in for a total so you can see. But I got a total of $584 in sensors on this bike. That's on top of what it would cost to get, your ECU, igniter, wiring harness, wideband. So these are sensors I run on the bike to get the data I want. So that will be just a given, we'll say, package that no matter what ECU I have, I would still have those sensors. That's nothing that's internal to the ECU. It's all external stuff that you'll need to function the bike. And it's also not on top of factory sensors. I'm not taking into account the cost of, because you probably have these on the bike, the cost of like a gear position sensor, your speedo sensor, intake air temp sensors usually on the bike, a coolant temp sensor. I don't run coolant on the bike, but you get the idea. You already have these sensors, so that's not really a cost incurred. So a connector, I didn't, it's not like I'm leaving stuff out now. I didn't add in the cost of a connector kit because I bought all the connectors to use factory sensors. To wire in the factory sensors, I should say. And it was very minimal cost. So instead of getting all nitpicky about you need a connector and a pin kit for this and a pigtail for that, I just left the connector stuff out of it because it's a minimal incurred cost. So, like I said, we're going to go with, that's my one breakdown here. And what I got for sensors, I got my shock sensor, a tire temp sensor. I included the boost solenoid. So my boost increase decrease solenoid, it's a dual solenoid block. The one I have is a Fueltech brand one. Other companies make the same brand or the same style with their name on it. So Fueltech, Holley, Maxx, whatever you pick. That's the style solenoid I would go with regardless of the ECU system. But that solenoid, I kind of did some comparison, and the Fueltech price is right in line with the other ones that I've seen. And it's like a $200 boost solenoid. So again, that would be the same no matter what the ECU was. So we got boost solenoid, then we got fuel pressure, oil pressure, I get crankcase pressure, and then a dome pressure sensor. So all those sensors, $584. Now, I'm gonna do first, because it was the easiest one to research. And again, I'm a fanboy, I won't lie. But I did about 5 months-ish of research using software, monkeying around on websites, going through this stuff, because I didn't know how Fueltech operated before I had one. I just liked the dash. That was my draw initially. But now we're gonna start seeing the details of why I did go with Fueltech over the others. This whole argument is kind of it's like an Apple versus Android thing. Different layout, I'll do the same stuff. Different layouts, or easier for different people. I'm not wording that right. The different layouts are better for certain people over others. Some like Android, some like Apple. Some like Fueltech, some like Holley, some like Maxx. M-Tron was another one I was looking at, but we'll get into that. But, so Fueltech, their website's super easy to use, and it's super easy to find the parts individually you're looking for, and it's broke down, very easy to understand. This was the easiest website to get pricing off and to understand what you're looking for, and everything is there. You're not going to different sites to get different shit. So my Fueltech right now, we'll go with not what I paid because I don't remember, but current pricing right now is my FT550, so we'll say Fueltech, the FT550 right now, you get for $17.97. And that's with a unterminated harness. You can get pre-made harnesses, but the price goes up quite a bit. And I don't like the pre-made stuff because you end up with a bunch of extra length of stuff you don't need. You're trying to hide wires and you want to add stuff in later. It's not a great idea. Just get an unterminated harness. Then you need, obviously you got to run spark plugs or the coils. So Spark Pro box or Spark Pro igniter, Spark Pro 4 is $218. So $218 for that, and then you need a wideband. As far as I know, this is kind of cool about the Maxx now. The Maxx wideband is internal, I believe. You don't need an external wideband setup. Fueltech you do. So -1 for Fueltech, +1 for Maxx. So go wideband. And that was $283. And these prices too, I decided that it would be better if I showed you the price with the harness. You can get this stuff without harnesses. But these are with a harness, and the wideband is with the O2. So there's a little bit of extra price or extra money in there for the harnesses and the O2 sensor. But the total for the Fueltech is $22.98. And then we'll add our $584 for our basically our operational sensors package. We get $28.82. Getting sloppy here, my toolbox is in the way of my arm. So right now my bike outfitted with all the Fueltech stuff as it runs, minus the cost of just the connectors. Actually, just a little connector kit with the pins, crimp them on, fairly cheap. My entire bike running, $2,882. And that includes, this is where, if you're new to standalones, a lot of people aren't aware that the Fueltech ECU, the dash is the ECU. There's no extra cost for a dash. And on a bike, I think that's huge. And that's actually another reason I really like the Fueltech for a bike. Another thing is the Fueltech requires no extra boxes, programming, no piggybacking anything, no extra figure out how to add tables, whatever, to do wheelie control and traction control. There's nothing fancy on this bike that allows me to do that. It's all done basically internally with what's supplied in the software, utilizing what's already on the bike for sensors. So again, just keep that in mind, because that's where you're going to see the biggest price difference now. Now Maxx, I haven't researched this stuff. Like I said, I've had this system on the bike now like 3 years. So this is how long it's been since I've looked up this stuff. So it was a little bit harder to navigate the websites to look for the different things I would need. And I'll say right now that the Maxx website's not really user friendly, and I feel like there's some stuff missing. Like you gotta hunt for info, and you can't actually get everything you need on the one site. So plus one Fueltech. But I decided to do this as I would outfit this bike. So I would put a Maxx Race ECU on this, not the Streets, not the Sport, the other ones that they offer. So a Maxx Race, and this is cool, it does allow a traction control capability. I may be talking out of school here. I don't believe it requires anything extra, like another extra box or anything, but it is traction control capable. But the Maxx Race ECU does traction control with the harness, $16.93. So we'll do the Maxx over here. Maxx Race is, what did I say? $16.93. Now you do need still some sort of igniter for the coils. Not ridiculous. So it's a little like a Bosch igniter basically, 4-channel. 143 bucks. And then this is where you might want to start thinking ahead, because this is going to make the difference in the price now. To get a ride height sensor for a Maxx, to get one of them laser sensors, because it's not internal, like the Fueltech uses pitch control for wheelie control. The Maxx, and as far as I know, the Holley as well as an M-Tron, you'll need an external ride height sensor. It's a laser sensor, and I've only been able to find them for about 600 bucks. Drawback to the laser sensor is, talking to car guys, they do have a tendency to fuck up. If a track is super prepped and shiny, can kind of trick the laser. I haven't personally ran into anybody with a bike that has one that had that issue, but also there's not a lot of people running that yet. But if you do want to do wheelie control, got to have something to tell it how high the bike is. That's the sensor I found. So that ride height sensor, we'll just call it a laser, 600 bucks. And now this may be why, one, you're seeing more and more Fueltechs going on bikes, and it could also be why you saw a lot of people start out with the Maxx, because if you don't need wheelie control, a lot of people don't, it is an extra feature. If you don't want the wheelie control, you automatically are taking $600 off this price. But like I said, I'm outfitting this whole deal to be how I would outfit this bike, how it is right now, to replace and replace. And then another drawback, and this is where I'm not an expert on this, and I won't claim to be. I'm trying to do just kind of a broad reference deal here. You need a dash. And like I said, I'm doing this as if I was going to outfit my bike. So I've seen people with the Maxx ECUs using tablets, which you can get for fairly cheap. I would never go that route. I'm not putting anything on the bike that needs to be charged outside of the bike. I'm not taking a chance of the dash going dead. We've all seen how tablets and devices work, and they glitch and fail and lock up. I can't bring myself to trust that stuff. I want a hard dash that comes on when the bike comes on, displays what I need. So the cheapest I could find for a dash was about 400 bucks, and I've seen some going upwards of $2 to $3 grand. So we're just going to call it bare bones, because the one that I found for 400, I actually thought it was pretty cool looking. Not 100% current fresh on its features. I tried to read this stuff quick, and I think manufacturers need to do a better job on describing their features in some of their stuff. Some of it goes over my head. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But other stuff is just really vague. But that dash, $400. So this is basically would be my, for this bike, this would be my Maxx, my Maxx outfit. So that total I came up with to do a Maxx, $28.36. Now I'll add our $584 for my, basically my operation package. And I'm not going to do live math. I did this ahead of time already. $34.20. Now, I get some people that already run Maxx might watch this and see that price and go, "You're out of line. That's not right." Fuck it. I might be wrong. I don't know. But like I said, I would want a dash that's not a tablet, and I also am going to have that laser sensor, that ride height sensor. You've probably seen that sensor mounted on certain bikes. Kind of hangs off a bracket real low down off like one of the lower fork legs. That sensor goes under a couple different manufacturer names, but all I've found is that price, roughly that price, and I don't know of another option. If somebody knows of another option, let me know. I'll spread the good word. If you know of another laser sensor type option for ride height that's cheaper than that one. I haven't researched this shit in a while because my bike has the stuff. So yeah, that $34.20. Now take that $600 off there for that laser sensor, and that's a very competitive price for a standalone. And I think that's why you probably see a lot of people going with Maxx right away, because that number will be less than that number. All of a sudden it's cheaper than the Fueltech. But like I said, I've had the Fueltech on this bike for 3 years now. I'm still finding features I can use, and it just works flawlessly. I can't tell you how easy this thing is. I wish everybody could at least come and hang out with me in the garage here, and I can show you how easy this is to use. But I don't want to turn this into a Fueltech commercial. It's probably going to sound that way anyways, but I'm just that stoked on how well this thing does for the bike world. So as you can see, Fueltech a little cheaper than the Maxx. Now, I did at one point look at putting a Holley on this thing because of, like I said, I'm around a lot of car people. Holley's very common in the car world, and I get why. I don't think it's a good bike ECU, and I started digging on this a couple nights ago to get my prices and looking at features and stuff again, and it brought everything back to me of why I just think Holley's a terrible idea. It works really good. I don't think it's great for bikes. I also don't think it's great if you ever want to be self-sufficient. Holley, I believe, is one of the, from what I've seen firsthand, is one of the glitchiest ECUs as far as just little quirks. It seems to develop shit just randomly. It stops doing certain things. And I also feel that a lot of people with the Holley are dependent on a tuner. Maybe it's just the people, or just people in general, that everybody seems so dependent on somebody else figuring the stuff out for them. Nobody wants to ask a question and then try to do it themselves. It's just, here, do it for me. And I see that more so with the Holley than any of the others. With that said, the guys that are good with a Holley are really good with a Holley. It's everybody in between that struggles that is reliant on them. So you go to the track, you get that one guy that's really good with a Holley. He's working on 15 cars, or well, there's not a lot of people with Holley on bikes right now. So I can't even make that comparison and say he's working on 15 cars and 15 bikes, but it would be like 15 cars on one bike. But that one guy that knows Holley's always busy. Maxx, kind of that same way. I feel like a lot of people are tied to somebody that has to help them. Fanboying again. The Fueltech is the, I believe, easiest ECU to be self-sufficient on. I didn't do any standalones before this. This was my first install, my first purchase. I I'm not an idiot, but I was new to it. Like I said, I did like 5 months of research playing with the software for these different things, and I just kept coming back to the Fueltech. Being drawn to the dash was a bonus, but learning all the other stuff now, I know why I picked it. If you decide to ever go that route with a Fueltech, you'll get a little, I suggest wiring it yourself. It's easy. And then you also know how the bike's wired for future problems. But you'll get a little help setting up, getting parameters and things kind of set, things you might not be familiar with. It was the same for me. I didn't know what I was doing with certain settings, just what it was asking me. Once it was explained by David Ligori Drag Racing, once he explained to me and did the different breakdowns on things, then it made sense, and I knew what I was doing after that. And now he still answers. It's been 3 years. He still answers my questions when I want to try something different or a little tweak. Other than that, kind of been on my own with this thing. Get help from a couple people at the track once in a while when we're just bouncing ideas back and forth. But for the most part, anybody can run a Fueltech. But with that said, I'm still going to put the price up here for a Holley, and you're just going to be disgusted right away. So we'll just get it out of the way. So I priced out the Holley 2 different versions. I did a Dominator and the HP. The Dominator is, we'll do right here. We'll do DM, and we'll do the HP. So the Dominator is $24.45 for just the ECU. And the HP is $15.05. And I will say this, if you go with Holley, good luck ever getting tech support. I feel like they just mass produce this stuff and send it out. Getting anybody actually from Holley to help you with stuff is like an act of God. And that comes from seeing it firsthand with the car guys trying to deal with stuff. They end up usually getting help from somebody else that runs a Holley, more so than the actual tech. Fueltech, I promise you, you email or call, you're going to get somebody that person that answers your email or your call, that somebody is going to help you, and it's going to be right, and it's every time. Maxx, I don't even know what the support system for Maxx is like. I feel like there's one guy out there that kind of helps everybody. After that, it seems like it's sort of Holley, Holley click-ish, with just certain people that are really good at it that have to help everybody else. Like I said, I just don't see that with the Fueltech. Guys with the Fueltech are just sitting in their trailer making changes and going out and making passes. They ain't waiting for somebody to make a change for them. But again, I don't want to turn this into just a Fueltech commercial and a bash everything else commercial. This is my first-hand experience of trying to figure this shit out and get my bike set up. But we'll keep going here. So I did price the HP and the Dominator. I feel like the Dominator is way, way, way too much for a bike. Unnecessary. Trans controls and everything else, like shit. It's a car guide ECU. HP, a little more fit for the bike, so that price is a little more in line with some of the other ones. It's the cheapest of the 3. But you'll still need a dash, and I couldn't believe this when I saw it. Maybe you can go with like an AEM or I know Motec makes some pretty cool dashes. I didn't price all this stuff out. There's just so many to pick from. But if you want the Holley dash, the small Holley dash is $811. These are off their website. I'm assuming their ECUs come with the harness. Doesn't really say what you get in the box on the website because they're so into selling carburetors and other things that that website sucks. I won't lie. But you still need, same thing as the Maxx, you're going to need a dash. Well, we'll need a laser. So dash 811, laser 600. And then you're going to need the same thing, you need some kind of an igniter. $143, same one, like a Bosch 4-channel. So, if you were going to do a Holley, if you're going to do the Dominator, you're at 45.83. And if you're going to do the HP, what do I got here? 36.43. So, that's all for my notes. Like I said, this got pretty frustrating trying to price all this stuff out because if you start looking at this stuff yourself, you'll find that the Fueltech website is the easiest to use. There's just no denying it. These other websites, like I said, I was searching around and you're not really, I don't know, you're just not sure what you're looking for or what you're getting. They're just real unclear. But like I said, my bike outfitted with all the Fueltech stuff as it goes down the track right now, $28.82. If I was going to do it all with a Maxx, it would cost me a little more. Like I said, with the dash I picked and that laser sensor, because I'm going to have wheelie control on this thing, because if you've never played with it, this isn't pro street power. It makes a lot of power, but if you've never been on a bike that starts wheeling at like 170 miles an hour in 6th gear or 5th gear or whatever on the shift, it's a fucking riot and it's fun. But having that wheelie control and a little bit of a safety feature, and it's pretty neat, especially if it gets aggressive down low. First gear is usually pretty calm. Second and third gear gets pretty wild. But yeah, so I would make sure if you want to do something, get an ECU that'll do the wheelie control, or get yourself set up at least. But so the Maxx, you're getting up here, we'll say just rough numbers here, $500 to $600 more than Fueltech. And then with the Holley, I feel like Holley just priced themselves out of this whole deal. If you were to go with the HP, you could make it happen for like $3,600, it looks like. And Holley, I feel personally, is the worst as far as every time you want to do something, you got to add a box for something. I just don't like that. I'm not even really aware, or not aware, I shouldn't say, not real wise to the Holley traction control strategies and what you need to make that function. But I know the Maxx and the Fueltech have stuff built in that will work, and that's a nice feature to have. It's not magic, it doesn't do everything for you. You have to put in parameters and you got to make it spin the tire, and you have to get your settings figured out to make it actually a viable solution for a bad pass. But I would highly recommend, if you don't have a standalone, look at the Fueltech. Like I said, I'm an idiot. I'm working out of a garage and I actually did it when I had first received all the Fueltech stuff. Built this thing in a storage unit, and that's where I wired it. I had never done that before, and I did it. The bike works, and I have yet to have one failure. All the ECUs will do what you want. If you just love Holley, get a Holley. Learn to use it. Same with the Maxx. M-Tron, I did at one point look at considering getting an M-Tron. It was just, people that have them now love them, and I wish I knew more about them. At the time it was pretty new and I was just unsure, and I kept going back to that Fueltech, the ECU is the dash. And one quick note about the dash, a lot of people ask about, when they do a Maxx or something, they want the dash to display certain things in certain spots. You can't always change some of that stuff without maybe getting the laptop out, reprogramming the dash. Some of them high-dollar dashes you can do whatever the fuck you want with. With the Fueltech, I can set up the dash however I want to display what I want with a different style of gauges that I want. And then I can also just at the swipe of a finger have a second dash set up to display different things. I can just have different layouts, or I can have different info on different screens. If there's certain things that I don't find are real critical but I want to monitor, I can just swipe the dash over and there's a new display with new things I can check out. And then I can swipe it right back to have my main screen where I got my actual, making a pass functions. But I hope some of this makes sense, maybe helps you kind of decide a little bit, cost-wise, ease of installation, ease of use. Don't buy the Amazon, eBay stuff. Buy from somebody that will support you. That's the only reason I got this bike to the point that it's at. I bought from one of the best Fueltech dealers around and one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to. He walked me through this, never made me feel like an idiot. and I had the bike wired and running in, it was like a week of working on it after work in a storage unit. I definitely suggest going that route. The other ECUs, like I said, they'll all do what you want, but I don't know if I had a Maxx. I don't know who I'd really rely on to get help at a moment's notice, especially being at the track. I don't want to have to be on the phone waiting for a call back or a text message back. It'll take you no time with the Fueltech to get self-sufficient. And that's kind of what I want to see. Is I don't want to see people stuck at the track, you know, not sure what to do, what to change because their tuner didn't call them back. Be self-sufficient. It makes the sport way more fun. And for me, I don't care if I'm the fastest or not. I just want to be self-sufficient. There's always going to be somebody faster, so just take that stress out. You know, just don't worry about it. Do what you can do. If you want to be the fastest out there, you're gonna hate life, and your wallet's gonna hate you. But for now, I'm gonna end this video. It's Christmas Eve. I'm gonna go in the house and get some snacks. And I hope my ignorant explanation of ECUs and cost makes sense and maybe help you guys do a little research on your own and figure out what you want to do if you want to go this route. But if you're running a stock ECU, you're probably an idiot from Illinois. See you later.